not in America, because you know as well as I do. Like my buddy Black Dot said on his podcast. He said I dare you to go to your job working with white people and say I don't like white people. He said you'll end up in HR in 30 seconds, right? And so really most of us don't have the access to the freedom we deserve because I'm fully convinced that freedom requires discipline. That's one of the reasons why I would notice, like I was explaining that to our daughter when I said, I don't actually have to get up at any time in the morning. I could sleep till noon, but every morning I get up at 5, 6 a.m. And I said, why do you think I do that? And she said, I don't know. I said, well, I do that because I discipline myself before the world has to discipline me. I know that if I decide to lay around and do nothing, waste all my money, sit around and smoke weed and drink liquor all day, eventually that white man's gonna come along and exploit my financial desperation, right? I'm gonna become disciplined by society. So I discipline myself before the world must discipline me. Just like, and really this is gonna be controversial, I promise you, but it doesn't matter. I'm gonna say it anyway. My grandfather, because he was old school, he told my mama, and I'll say it more politely. He was talking about whoopings. He was a fan of whoopings. I did get whoopings, and I do now believe that there are better ways to raise kids. But he's old school, right? And what he used to tell my mama is he said, he's a black boy. The police will kill him. You better discipline him before the police get a hold of him. Because when the police get a hold of him, they're gonna shoot him, or he gets in prison, they're gonna beat him, they're gonna rape him, they're gonna do stuff to him. So you better discipline him before they get a hold of him. And in a way, that's probably how I think about life. So long story short, let's finish this up so we can put a bow on this. Um, when it comes to wealth, capitalism is the ultimate predator to some extent. It exploits, it extracts. That's what it does. That's why the US will declare war on a country just so they can go and take its resources. That's the dark side of capitalism. So you live in a dark society in that regard. That does not mean you have to be a dark person, but you must have the ability to fight those dark forces. And one thing about economics is you must understand that in a dark society where the capitalist beast is looking to exploit and take things from you, you must understand the economics of self-defense. So when you are saving money, and you're not just doing it so you can have extra drip, you're saving money so you can be extra safe, right? When you make an investment, you're not just doing it so you can buy a nicer car. You're doing it so that when you run into an economic calamity, you're able to withstand that. Do you understand? Right? So you're not necessarily, so, well, why is that? Well, because money is power. Money is power. And it doesn't mean you have the power to go conquer other people and make them slaves. I'm not saying that, but it does defend you from others who will come along and make you a slave. If you imagine a family that's broken and financially desperate, that family is going to be scattered and it's going to be exploited every which way. The daughter's swinging on a pole down in Magic City. The son's out in the street thugging and he ends up in the prison system where he's going to be made into a slave. The mama's working 2 or 3 jobs, just barely enough to get by so she can give all her money to the landlord, right? That's an example of how that lack of structure, that lack of preparation will drive you into slavery. But imagine the opposite of that. I want you to visualize this for your children and your family. Imagine if you have a family that has committed to the idea of self-discipline. So you have a strong father that's committed to being married to his wife. He's committed to being there for his children. He's conscious. He's committed to being the best leader that he can possibly be. He's learned the tools of economics, so he knows how to make money. When he makes money, more importantly, he doesn't just know how to make money, he knows how to keep money. So he gets money and he keeps the money, and then even better, he grows the money. Why? Well, because he's conscious, he's trained, he's prepared. And then the wife also is conscious. She's trained, she's prepared. So the family's financially secure.